Okay, so this is the second part of the video. I just like how you saw on the previous part of the video, I don't really have a problem with my cone set or my steering stem bearings, but just in case if any one of you have had issues and had troubles with this, and you feel that there's a flex, a minute flex at the neck right about here or at the collar, then what you need to do is you need to do these steps in the right order. Keep that in mind. So what you guys first do is check for the tightness of this bolt. You would need something like this. This is a 30 millimeters ring spanner with a bit of a bend here. If you can see the angle, it's bent here, and that's 30 millimeters for this lock nut. The first thing that you need to do is check for the free play, or check for the tightness of this particular lock nut. This is to secure the top triple clamp to the forks and the bottom, and this is not to do this has got nothing to do with the adjustment of the steering stem bearings. For that we have something else right about here. We'll talk about that later, but for now the first thing to do is to find out if there is just the flex at the top triple clamp. I mean, what I mean is the handlebar, because you have a forward pull on the handlebar when you brake. Your handlebar kind of flexes up and down, and this portion goes up and down because of the loose lock nut. So the first thing to do is check if this is all good. So get yourself something like this. You can purchase. This is Eastman. I don't really know if this is a good brand or not, but any which ways, you can buy these kind of tools at local tools hardware shops. They ought to have these kind of spanners with them. So that's an open end spanner, and that's a ring spanner with a bit of a bend so that it goes in easy, and secure it in place. Turn the handlebar full lock, press on the foot peg or something, and then see if this needs a little more of tightening. So mine is quite tight. Mine is just not budging. Even if I give it all of my strength, it's not budging. So that means, like I said yesterday, all is well with my steering competence. But just so that for the sake of the video, I'm going to be doing things for you guys to see. The first things first, leave things the way it is there. And okay, so what we have here is an Allen key. This is 6 millimeters, again from Eastman. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be loosening the lower triple clamp bolts, the bolts that secure the fork to the lower triple clamp. I'm going to be loosening up these two and the two on the opposite side as well. So that's step number one. And you would of course need something like an extension to add more leverage or leverage, whatever. So go in and then break free. Go in, break free, and up. If you have the right leverage, it's a piece of cake. And if you don't, you'll have to use all your strength on this little fella for it to turn, and it will still not budge. So it's important that you use the right tools or the right combination of tools to get your job done. Yeah, so this side I have managed to successfully make the grip a lot loose on the fork. Same goes to the side as well. So why do we do this? We do this so that when we adjust the nut here, or the adjusting nuts are right about there, if you guys can see. If you guys can see this bit here, these fellas, somewhere in between. I don't know if you guys can catch that. This fella in between right here. So there's an adjusting nut right about here. So If I were to rotate it clockwise, the upper triple clamp and the lower triple clamp kind of compresses on the bearings. It does this. If I were to release this, they'll open up only to a point where the bearings are completely out of tension. So any which ways, we are going to be giving this a slight kind of adjustment now, because let's consider, because you have the issue of the forks going doing this, and you have gotten into this process of adjusting the nuts. The process, what you're going to be doing, technically doing, is you're going to be tightening those nuts. So that would mean rotating this particular adjusting nut in the clockwise direction. And what that would do is that would bring these two closer. It'll put pressure on the bearings, and they'll seat a little bit tighter. So this step number 2 would be, like I said earlier, all you need to do is put this fella in, loosen the lock nut. Yeah. Now that the lock nut is completely loosened, step 3 would be, find yourself a flathead screwdriver, fasten it onto these notches, and then give it a nice spank. If you guys can see, if you watch this adjusting nut, it'll start rotating. So now, this is the catch. How much is how good with the adjusting nuts? There's absolutely no theory. Nobody can put it. Nobody can give you a certain range of adjustment. You need to figure this out by yourself. Remove the fork triple clamp bolts, loosen the lock nut, tighten this, and tighten the bolts at the fork, tighten the lock nut. Go for a ride and come and see if your handlebar binds. If it doesn't bind, and if it doesn't have that play anymore, the forward backward play, then you're good to go. So turning should come effortlessly. If this is difficult, then you know that your steering stem bearings need a little more of adjustment. Try and hit potholes. That's the whole process, guys. If you want to tighten and loosen your adjusting nuts and get the right tension, that's about it. That's all you need to do. I'll run you through the whole process again. Loosen the lock nut, loosen these fork triple clamp bolts, go ahead with a flathead screwdriver and a hammer or a mallet, clockwise, anti-clockwise, to adjust the adjusting nut, to increase tension between the two triple clamps and to reduce tension between, not the two triple clamps, technically the bottom triple clamp and the steering stem bearings. So once you have all that in place, all you need to do is, once you've figured out the right tension with which you can move and maneuver comfortably without any binding in your handlebar, all you need to do is just tighten the lock nut on the top, and that's job well done. And remember to give this a nice hard, good amount of torque. I don't really know what Newton meters this would be, but anyways, it's definitely going to be on the higher side. So even if you have to give it all your strength, give it all your strength. All you need to do is, once you're done with that, go for a test ride and see, and also do the exercise of pulling and pushing the fork legs, turning the wheel end to end, just to be doubly sure about the tension here. And that's all you need to do to know if you have the right amount of tension in your steering nuts or steering stem bearings. That's about it. That's the whole process. Hopefully that would have made things a lot more clear. Kindly do this before you jump into any kind of a conclusion that you have to change your steering head bearings. So this is a very subjective topic. You have to figure it out by yourselves. Now, when you do this, when you get done with this and you take it on road, like on proper tarmac where there's absolutely nothing, very few bumps here and there, you might not be able to figure it out very well. You take it on off-road, which is again kind of one stretch, smooth sailing gravel or dirt, you will still not be able to find it out. The best way to figure out if your adjustment is right is to take a pillion along with you. If you have a pillion with you and then you go off-road and you hit these small bumps and you do potholes, you'll instantly be, and you do hard braking, you'll instantly be able to know if the bike can take the load. So if you have a pillion, you are looking at somewhere around 120 to 150 kilos of payload, and you'll very clearly be able to know if your adjustment here is good enough. So that's the whole process. Yeah, so hi guys, that's what you saw, and hopefully this would have made some sense. It's a simple procedure. If you understood the meaning of it, then you will understand that the SKF bearings, or the bearings that come as stock on the Royal Enfield Himalayan, are not to be blamed. I've had the stock factory bearings on my motorcycle for about 27,000 kilometers and never really had a problem. Honestly, this is all about undoing this whole setup, lubricating when necessary, and then putting it back together in the right order with the right tension, the right amount of torque. That is all there is to it. If you get the torque right, then you will not screw up your bearings. 90% of service centers get the torque wrong. I repeat, they get the, actually can you point here? They get the torque in the adjusting nuts wrong. And that is what causes all the trouble. It's not the way the bearing is designed. It's a taper roller bearing. It's one of the best designs, and it's an advanced technology to the what do you call it, the ball bearings in a cage. This is far advanced, and this can take a lot more of beating. So of course the Japanese bearings are definitely going to be better. I'm not debating or denying that fact, but that being said, the kind of fuss that revolves around the SKF bearings, I think, is just a little too much. I mean, all that hype about this being the worst bearing in the world and all that crap. 27,000 kilometers, plenty of off-road rides, 20,000 kilometers or more with a pillion. Have done all sorts of roads across the length and breadth of the country on this motorcycle and other motorcycles. These bearings are not to be blamed. If you do a lot of off-road riding, then do a lot more of periodic maintenance. If you do less off-road riding and a lot of tarmac riding, do less periodic maintenance. Of course, the water seal is not as good as certain other brands, but even that can be resolved by removing the whole the steering stem and getting the bearings out and degreasing them and applying a shot of grease and putting things back together. That's all you need to do to keep all the rust away. And also keep in mind to not have the spray guns or the water guns hit this area when you go take this for pressure wash. Do not have a lot of pressurized water hitting this region is because this particular cap is not exactly going to help you from, this particular cap is not going to be keeping the water away from the internals. The water seeps in through the adjusting nut to the internal. So yes, Art of Motorcycles have made some wonderful nylon cap that covers the entire thing, the dust seal here and the adjusting nut from the top. And maybe I too will get one for myself. But that being said, for now all you need to keep in mind is keep this area away from a lot of rain and pressure wash, and you will be good to go. The rest of it is just maintenance, regular maintenance. So if you liked the video, kindly subscribe to the channel. I will keep you posted on the developments, and if in case come closer actually, if in case I need to change my bearings to some good German or Japanese ones then I'll do a separate video on that as well. But for as long as these last, I'm more than happy with them and the way they've performed. 27,000 kilometers is not something to be written off. Keep in mind that that's decent enough mileage to test any component on the motorcycle, and they're very good bearings from my experience. I'm not recommending them, I'm just saying that, kindly double check your observations and then make it a statement on social media. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you like the video, kindly hit the like button and subscribe. I will keep posting wonderful information in the form of videos like these. See you then. Take care. Bye.